Cashew here with the DMV.
Has concluded.
The DMVSTREAM.COM.
Sean Parker along with Nick Allison.
I always wanted to play volleyball in college.
Cordova trying to dig it out of the board. And they score!
Hello everybody, welcome into another edition of the Prep Zone here on DMVSTREAM.com. Bob Trossett alongside my guys, my analysts, Derek Kramer and Bretton Randolph. Fellas, this is our last episode in September. We're moving on into October. The fall is here.
Oh yeah.
And I know you guys are fired up today.
Absolutely.
All right, we got a lot to get to today, so let's kind of outline things for you as far as what's ahead. We're going to recap St. John's and Good Counsel, T.C. Williams and Mount Vernon. I know Bretton's itching to get after that one. Tuscarora and Centerville. I'm gonna have my last words on that one. And then also Stonebridge versus Westfield. That surprised us here at the round table. And then finally, we will recap Old Mill and Arundel. So on the flip side, what we will preview, here you go, St. John's at DeMatha, Sherwood at Northwest, St. Albans at Flint Hill. None of those games should disappoint. And of course, where to watch it right here at DMVSTREAM.com, and here are some of your other options. So we got a packed show here today, guys. I know you guys are fired up. I'm definitely fired up. But first, take a look at how to get your play featured every week on All Met Sports Top Plays.
Hello everybody and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at AllMetSports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Kubarulis. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school football show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Koob, and you got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our Top 10 at allmetsports.com. We'll see you soon.
Hello everybody, Bob Trossett here to highlight a local athlete's performance. Sidwell Friends running back Mark Chichester delivered a workhorse effort with 249 yards on 23 carries and 4 touchdown runs, including a long of 60. This led the Quakers to a 28-12 victory over Fredericksburg Christian. If you want to see your content on this show, be sure to tweet us at DMVStream. Hey everybody, welcome back into the Prep Zone. All right, let's get into our weekend rewind, shall we, fellas? Derek, this starts with you. The first game report was between St. John's and Good Counsel. What went down in this one?
Yeah, this was a heavyweight game between 2 of the top teams in the area, led by St. John's and Good Counsel. But St. John's came out real strong early. They led 23-0 in the second quarter. And here's our player of the game, sophomore running back Keelan Robinson, who led the charge with 165 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns behind his huge offensive line, paved the way by 6'7" Auburn commit Calvin Ashley. And the defense was no slouch either, led by Texas A&M recruit, defensive end Tyree Johnson, who just had the sack. But Good Counsel came on later in the game and had a couple good plays and made it more of an interesting contest. And here we see Good Counsel quarterback Travis Nanman keeping himself for the QB keeper in the score. But St. John's, they really had a message out here. You know, the WCAC is led by DeMatha and Good Counsel. The last 13 years, Good Counsel and DeMatha have taken home the titles. And their head coach, Joe Casamento, has said that the only way to beat everyone is to go through St. John's and DeMatha. And next week, they're playing DeMatha to see if they can take home the title. So it'll be an interesting one.
A big test for sure. Now, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 of us here at the round table had the Good Counsel Falcons. So what was it about this St. John's team who showed up on their home turf and took down a solid Good Counsel team?
You know, we learned that we should never listen to the analysts. It's all about the football players, really. But St. John's, their running attack was unstoppable. They had 160 rushing yards in the first half, and that's our guy, Keelan Robinson, who's only a sophomore, 15 attempts, 140 yards rushing, and 3 touchdowns. He was really the catalyst for the team, and it was a great game.
a great game for sure. I think that, it doesn't necessarily show it by the final score, but, nonetheless, a great game. So let's get on to our game report number 2. Brenton's itching over here. I can feel the table moving.
I'm telling you,
You described it as an instant classic.
Oh, yeah.
What went down in this one?
I mean, we had a good old-fashioned shootout here between T.C. Williams and Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon was off to their best start in a very long time, but they hadn't beaten T.C. Williams since 2008. They were looking to change that here, but you've got T.C. Williams, Jaron Hillian breaking multiple tackles on his way to a 42-yard run. Gotta like the jerseys too, the color rush jerseys. But you got Akidi Taylor, not to be outdone by his running mate, going in for the touchdown. That'd be one of 4 touchdowns on the day for him, but Mount Vernon, of course, would respond. They chose to do it through the air. You got them, but you got another touchdown by Akidi Taylor here. Like I said, 1 of 4 on the game. So really it came down to which team would be able to make defensive plays first in this great shootout. And got another touchdown there by Darian Newton. He had 4 on the day, so really just offensively explosive, all the teams. But you got a sack there. That was the first big defensive play, and it would come down to the last minute where Jaron Hillian would score the game-winning touchdown to win 42-37.
Tell me a little bit about his performance, because he is our top performer. You look at his numbers right here. How well did he pace this team?
I mean, him and Akidi Taylor were a great 1-2 combo. You could see the 182 yards there, the 1 touchdown rushing, the touchdown receiving. So, I mean, he was very balanced, and he came up with the big play. That was why he was my player of the game.
Well, you called it an instant classic, and by the looks of it, it really seemed to be one.
It's a lot of fun to be at.
All right, let's get over to our game report number 3. Derek, you had the chance to go to this one between Tuscarora and Centerville. What was the story?
So Tuscarora, last 2 seasons they were undefeated. So they started off this season 1-3. So they were really looking to turn around their season, and they did that, handing Centerville their first loss of the season. Here we see a punt and a big hit to set off the tone, and they really did come aggressively. They came in to prove something, and we have another sack, and they were all over Centerville. Centerville, they started off strong, but Tuscarora, they handed it to Jalen Lundy, and he had his 4th consecutive 100-yard gamer. And here's our player of the game, Joseph Maureen, who's a wide receiver and safety with a nice 54-yard touchdown pass, set up the lead. And here's the highlight of the game. 50-yard touchdown, leaping catch by Centerville wide receiver Isaiah Culver. What a catch. And he had another catch that was turned around where he actually caught it with his feet, but it was out of bounds. But he had 2 incredible catches that play. And Centerville, last 2 minutes of the game, 2-minute drill, they came stormed down the field on this play. Then the play to seal it off, our player of the game, Joseph Maureen, makes the interception and takes it back to almost the 20-yard line to seal the deal for Tuscarora. And now they're 2-3, and they've got their homecoming game against Herndon next week, so it'll be a good one.
How about the poise for Maureen there and to finally seal that game on the road too? And here's your numbers right here.
Yep. At the end of the game, he said, "Yep, our defense we might bend, but we will not break." And he really showed it there with a clutch interception to really seal the deal for his team.
Now, how about? But he does it on both sides of the ball.
Exactly.
He contributes for the defensive end and offensive end. You see that a lot in high school. What's that like because obviously in college you don't see it as often. Sure. What's that like in high school?
You know, you really have to be poised. You have to understand both concepts of the offense and defense and really be able to take it on both sides. And it's a really good thing that he could actually do that for his team, and it showed out that he's a vital player of the game.
All right, well, that's our game report number 3. We got 2 more coming up, but first, take a look at DMVSTREAM.com's partnership with USA Football as we broadcast 3 developmental games from Towson University. Hey everybody, and welcome back into the Prep Zone. Let's get right back into the weekend rewind, guys. Game report number 4. Brenton, you had this one. It was between Stonebridge and Westfield, and I think there's a lot of different opinions on this one, especially at this table when we chatted last week. Talk us through what went down.
Yeah, I mean, it was a matchup between two traditional powerhouses, both named the Bulldogs. Westfield was the 6A state champion, and Stonebridge was the 5A runner-up. Westfield actually beat Stonebridge last year 28-7, but things would be a little bit different this time around as Bradley Block breaks a couple of tackles on his way to a 65-yard touchdown run. Stonebridge was really effective running the ball. As you can see here, Bradley Block taking multiple defenders with him. It took a whole army of Westfield defenders to bring him down, and then he'd finish it off by punching it in for another touchdown, the second of, I believe, 3 on the day for Bradley Block. Stonebridge really just won the battle at the offensive line. That's why they were able to run the ball so effectively, and defensively they shut out Westfield for the first 3 quarters. But Westfield would come to life in the 4th there as Ramon Johnson connects on a 55-yard touchdown pass and then connects on a jump ball pass to Ivory Frimpong. But by then it was a little bit too late, as Stonebridge run game was just a little bit unstoppable. And as you can see here, Joshua Brees breaks the long touchdown, and Stonebridge would win comfortably by a score of 34-16.
It seems like that Brees Block combo really worked well for Stonebridge, and boy, does Block, I think the last name Block is self-explanatory. I think it speaks for itself in his running
absolutely.
game.
I mean, you can see here 16 attempts, 207 yards, a lot of it coming after contact, and he averaged well over 10 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. So he was really the catalyst for Stonebridge's offense and why they were able to be so effective, especially running the ball.
All right, so much to our surprise, Westfield goes down. Stonebridge, they're waving their hand at us, aren't they?
Yeah, listen to us.
Yeah. I mean, because Westfield had a 16-game winning streak coming into this matchup, and I mean, I guess we thought they were going to keep rolling, but Stonebridge had something for them.
Hey, revenge is a sweet, sweet thing, especially in high school football.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's swing it over to you, Derek, for our final game report, and that was between Old Mill and Arundel. Old Mill really took care of business. What was the story in this one?
Yeah, Old Mill really came in to set the message and set the tone that they're a very physical offensive running team, and their defense also led the charge too with a 42-21 victory over Arundel. And the player of the game was Cyrus Gay with one of his 4 touchdowns of the night. He was really fantastic. You're going to see a bunch of highlights from him. He was running all up and down the field. And the Old Mill defense did not let down as well. You'll see a sack here by number 56, Jamal Badu, who gets the sack. But here's more Cyrus Gray. They gave him the ball. He was the cowbell for the whole night. 216 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. He was really unstoppable. And what was great about this, it opened up the play action for the offense. So you see quarterback Blaze Fisher open up the play action and throw a long ball to his wide receiver who's wide open on the outside and just barely lost his balance for the touchdown. But again, you see now the play action rollout where he throws it to his wide open receiver who gets a huge chunk of yardage. So the running game really opened up the passing game for him and just let the offense really run wild.
And yet another team, and we've mentioned it several times on this show and in past shows, that goes into a tough environment on the road and just takes care of business.
Absolutely. When you're away, it really starts up in the trenches. If your offensive line can get a good push, get the running game started, it opens up everything. And it's all about the physicality, and Old Mill really brought it. And so our player of the game, Cyrus Gay, 31 carries, 217 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He was the catalyst, cowbell, whatever you'd like to call him. He really put the team on his back and led the charge for Old Mill.
That was a great shot of him, too, going right over the line.
Jumping over the line.
Man. He's got some serious talent for sure. So, all right, that'll do it for this segment on the Weekend Rewind. Thank you, fellas. We'll be back shortly. But first, take a look at this week's play and athlete of the week. I think you'll enjoy these. Hello, everybody. Bob Trossa here to unveil the DMVSTREAM.COM Play of the Week. And this week it comes from Arlington, Virginia. Yorktown's Steve Pico takes the handoff, avoids a defender in the backfield, slips through another 2 defenders, spins away from another would-be tackler, and avoids another 2 tackles for a total of 6 missed tackles on the way to a 60-yard touchdown. If you want to see your play as the Play of the Week on this show, be sure to tweet us at DMVStream. Hello, everybody. Bob Trossa here to unveil the DMVStream.com Athlete of the Week. And this week it goes to Hayfield's Jacob Keeney. The senior quarterback put up video game-like numbers, throwing for 515 yards and 6 touchdowns, leading the Hawks to a 54-29 win over Washington Lee. If you want to be the DMV Stream Athlete of the Week, be sure to tweet us your nomination at DMV Stream. Hey everybody, welcome back into the Prep Zone here. Let's get on to our weekly fast forward. We've recapped everything from last week. Let's take a look at the next week ahead, shall we, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, our first game preview. It's going to go over to Brenton, and this one's going to be a good game. We're thinking it's number 1 and number 2, respectively.
Yep.
What are we expecting in this one?
I mean, it's the number 1, number 2 matchup between St. John's and DeMatha. DeMatha is number 1, St. John's is number 2. Last season, DeMatha beat St. John's twice, including a 42-21 victory in the playoffs. But I would definitely expect things to be a little bit closer this time around. As you can see, Keelan Robinson breaking big runs. So you've got the Cadets. They've got a really effective run game this year. And Joaquin Bangda is their other running back, who also had a long touchdown run against good Counsel. So I would expect them to to be able to be effective running the ball, but also keep an eye out for their quarterback, Kasim Hill. They've got a balanced attack there at St. John's, and they should give DeMatha a pretty good test. And for DeMatha, like I said earlier, that'll be the big test for them because they've cruised so far in these first 5 games. They haven't really had to play anybody too competitive or too close. So this will be their first big test, and expect them to come out and bring it.
All right, we talked about him a little bit before, and that is Keelan Robinson. Let's take a look at why he is our player to watch on St. John's side of the football.
Yeah, I mean, Keelan Robinson, he's got the 34 attempts, 265 yards, 5 total touchdowns this season. He's really the guy that they go to when they need a big run or a big play. So that's the guy that I would expect to have a big game if St. John's is going to be able to reverse what happened last year.
And then on the flip side, for the number 1 team, that's Bo English.
Yeah.
What does he bring to the table for this DeMatha team?
I mean, Bo English is somebody who is a dual threat. You can see here 763 passing yards and an excellent 75% completion percentage, 7 passing touchdowns, and also 8 rushing touchdowns. So, like I said, he can really get it done on both sides of the ball.
All right, for our weekly fast forward, that is our first preview. That should be a good one, number 1 and number 2. But hey, you just never know in this league. So let's get on to our second preview. This one's between Sherwood and Northwest. Derek, you were assigned to this one. What are we thinking?
Yeah, so both teams are putting up huge offensive numbers. Sherwood's averaging 44.5 points a game, while Northwest is averaging 35 points a game. And Northwest senior running back Khalil Owens is the offensive player to watch on Northwest. He really is the catalyst, and he already has 10 touchdowns this season. But his quarterback companion, junior quarterback Chris Craddock, also a great arm, as you see here. He's getting more and more confidence, and the more that the running game is going well for them, it's opening up plays for him, and the option between them two is very lethal going in. So I look for a big game between the two of them. Sherwood is coming into the game undefeated thanks to the stellar play by their senior wide receiver and running back Travis Levi, who is one of the players to watch. And the defense has been very stout this season with lots of takeaways, as you'll see here with a pick 6 right here. And it'll be a very interesting battle. A lot of offense, big numbers I expect, but both teams have also had very stout defenses. So I'm kind of torn on whether it's going to be a shootout or a pretty evenly matched game.
You did mention that Travis Levy is one of our players to watch this week, so let's take a look at some of his numbers. What do you make of these?
Yeah, 11 touchdowns already, says second in the area. He's really the cowbell for that team, and how he goes, the team goes. And I expect if he gets a good offensive push, like, they can really take control of the game.
All right, and then on Northwest side, of course, Khalil Owens is somebody that you cannot look past. What do you expect from him going in?
Yeah, we've heard his name a lot around here. He's been our player to watch a couple times, and 10 touchdowns already. He's really the player to watch on their team on offense, and I expect a big game from him as well if it's going to be a shootout.
All right, those are 2 previews. We got more to come, but first, take a look at how DMV Stream uses our new state-of-the-art flyback to broadcast in a quick and easy manner.
Okay, so today we're really excited to be using our FlyPack kit, which allows us to do a powerful live stream with multiple camera inputs, an entire crew, just by simply rolling a case in to a gym or to a field or even to a basement in DC to do an event. As you can see behind me, this is the TriCaster. It's all set up. At this point, we've got one camera input already in. But the really cool thing about this is that it opens and closes very quickly and easily. It's got its own legs on its own stand. See all the inputs. This is where our director will be standing during the broadcast. We can run graphics right into the TriCaster from an independent computer. And then we'll also be monitoring the stream on this computer right behind it during the broadcast. If you follow me, come over this way. During the broadcast, we'll have our play-by-play and our color analysts right here at the desk. They'll be wearing these headsets, so they'll be speaking and calling the game right here is the action. It'll route right through our audio board, and then that audio board, of course, is routed back over to the TriCaster. So a really simple setup. It allows you to get in and get out quickly. We can have this set up within 20 minutes. Everything is fed right into here. A couple of converters and different things that really make this operation sing. It's the beauty of this is that we can get in, get out, do a high-powered production really quickly and simply, which allows us to lower our costs for the client.
Hello everybody, Bob Trossett here to highlight a ridiculous play from the Bullis-O'Connell football game. Take a look here. Bullis' Bryson Shaw gets the ball on the toss, and with a defender lining up for the tackle, Shaw shows off his athleticism, hurdling the defender on the way to a first down. If you want to see your content on this show, be sure to tweet us at DMVStream. Welcome back into the Prep Zone. It's time to finish up our weekly fast forward here on DMVStream.com. And Brenton, you're going to do that for us.
Yep.
You had this one. It was between St. Albans and Flint Hill. So what should we expect this coming week?
Well, I would expect this one to be a pretty interesting matchup. Flint Hill comes into the matchup 2-1 on the season, looking to rebound from a tough loss against Collegiate. But they've got some pretty good offensive weapons, two good receivers in Trey Rucker and Zach Garcia. They've got a good quarterback in Walker Venable who's able to get them the ball in places where they can make plays. Also, they've got a pretty solid running attack, which is currently being led by their junior, Mark Lewis. So I would expect the Huskies to try and maintain that balance as they get ready to take on the Bulldogs this week. Meanwhile, for St. Albans, they are having a resurgent season after a difficult 2015 campaign. They've already gotten off to a 3-0 start, which is more wins than they had last year. As you can see, Charles Snowden making a big play there. But their 3-0 start is thanks in large part to their quarterback, Malcolm Spencer. He's really the guy that makes that offense go, whether it's running the ball or passing the ball. And they have a pretty balanced offense as well. So it'll be interesting to see which team can get their offense going. And the team that is able to do that, I would expect to come out on top in this game.
And we have mentioned Malcolm's name before, so let's take a look at some of his numbers since we last mentioned him, and there you go.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 6 total touchdowns, so he's been playing well. He's been pretty balanced, and he's the catalyst for their offense, and also only 1 interception, so he's doing a very good job of protecting the ball, too.
All right, now how about Mark Lewis on Flint Hill's side of the football?
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who was actually a backup to start the season, but since the season, I mean, there was an injury to the starting running back, and since then he's really carried the load. He had 307 yards in a game against Blue Ridge, so he's somebody that's capable of having a huge game, and if he's able to get loose against the Bulldogs, it might be trouble for St. Albans.
Who do you like in this one?
Well, I am going to go with St. Albans in this one. I think there's just something special going on there, already off to a 3-0 start, and I feel like Malcolm Spencer will be able to keep things going, and I think he'll have a big game in this one.
And Derek, how about you?
You know, I'm going to go against the grain and take Flint Hill. We got to see them play against Paul VI, who I respect a lot, and I think Flint Hill is going to come out with this one.
All right, should be a good one between these two. Again, that's our weekly fast forward here. A lot of games coming up. Like we said, September is almost over, fellas. October's coming. That means postseason baseball too. So, but also great football. So we're pretty excited here. And We hope you'll come back and join us soon. Now, first, you got to take a look at the 2010 All-Met Player of the Year, Michael Niebrick. He broke down Nick Kalavokis and the big-time QB play that he's been putting on this year on the QB Academy. Take a look. Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the QB Academy here in September. Bob Trossett alongside my partner, Michael Niebrick, in the 2010 All-Met Player of the Year. We're getting fired up to talk some QBs today, and we're going to start off first with Loudoun Valley's Nick Kalavokis. I know you got a lot to say on this guy. What can you tell us to start?
Yeah, Nick Kalavokis is a small kid, dual threat guy. He's only 5'10", 180 pounds, but an extremely good runner with the football. He makes a lot of plays with his feet, not afraid to lower his shoulder, even with that size that he has. He's a pretty good passer as well. He's done a lot of good things throwing the football this year as well, as you see on the screen there with his stats. But he's got that playmaker edge to him, and I think a lot of his big playmaker moments come with him running the football, and that's what he really does well, and he gives the defenses a lot of issues with it.
All right, we got about 4 highlights here of Kalavokis, and you're here to break down some of his big-time plays so far this year. What do you got first for us?
Yeah, we're just going to start off with a little bit of his running ability here on this first clip. And he does a really nice job. Let's go ahead and roll it. Does a nice job here just moving around in the pocket. And the thing I like him most is he stays under control. A lot of young quarterbacks that like to run the football, they start to lose their rhythm a little bit, and they kind of lose control of their feet. Does a really nice job there keeping control of his footwork, stepping up in the pocket. His O-line here does a really nice job. Let's run it so we can see the pocket that they form here. Does a really nice job forming that pocket for him, gives him the ability to step up into the pocket, and then, like I said, just uses that playmaker mentality, uses his feet, and then, like I said, with that size, not afraid to run into the teeth of the defense.
It really seems like he's using his running ability in a lot of these plays. And I know we talked about that prior. What does that do for a quarterback? Does that open up his arm a little bit, or does it just kind of get, maybe relieve his nerves a little bit?
Yeah, it gets under the defense's skin for a little, throughout the course of the game, and they got their coverages downfield, they got everybody open, and then a guy like him just takes off and runs with the football. And
all right, that'll just about do it for this week's edition of the Prep Zone. For Derek Kramer and Brenton Randolph, I'm Bob Trossett. Thanks again for tuning in on DMVSTREAM.COM.